Pinkie Pie Eats a Pony by Ponyess. The tags for the story are sex, alternate universe, comedy, random. The party had been a blast, true to her promise and reputation. I had expected nothing less, which is why my parents asked her to throw it for me, even if she may have insisted. She is, after all, the craziest party pony on record in Equestria, for all I know. The ceiling had been flooded with balloons, streamers everywhere, and loads of confetti sprinkling the room. She had a piñata for me, since I am a filly, aside from the cake and pastries. Only then they all filed out as it grew dark, and I ended up alone with her, Pinkie Pie. I guess it is customary for me to be the last to leave the party, after all. I had a few more muffins, but that is all there was left. Aside from the scent of frosting on the air, I couldn't shake it. Of course she picked up on it, pointing out the odd occurrence. Hitting the piñata had been great fun. Seeing the candy fall down to the floor, flooding the area around me, had a strangely exhilarating feeling to it. The cake and pastries were just as delicious and good as I imagined they would be from past experiences and words from other ponies. The one sad thing with cake and pastries, you end up filled up with a rather bloated belly and tummy ache. True to Pinkie Pie and her parties, there was more than enough to go around. As much candy as I imagined to hoard, no filly or colt would feel as if they got less than they would like when they came home and explained about the adventure her thrown party had been. Something we all love Pinkie Pie for. How could I not love the pink mare? Even after the memory of the stallion known as Cheese Sandwich, the star known as Pinkie Pie had not faded. She still shines just as bright on my sky, tirelessly throwing parties left and right, as if it had been her job. Yet, I suspect it is her passion and life's calling. It isn't something she is paid to do, at least, not in the common sense. At the end, the fillies and colts had filed out. None complained about the bellyache as Pinkie Pie. None complained about the bellyache. I suspect was common among them, after overeating both cake and pastries. The joy had painted a brave smile on their faces. I could see Pinkie Pie draw both joy and pride from each and every smile passing her on the way out, as they turned their steps toward their homes. I had thanked each and every one of the fillies and colts for coming to my birthday party, just as I had asked if they enjoyed the party. They had all enjoyed it, just as I had expected. With Pinkie Pie throwing a party, what could possibly go wrong? Sorry, don't bother answering. No pony want to know if that is even possible. Eventually, the last filly and colt had left, and I had ended up alone with Pinkie Pie. Not something I would have regretted. If I am to confess, I had been looking forward to it and dreamt of it for ages. It isn't as if Penny Pony were left alone with her for all that long on any occasion. She is way too popular to be left alone. Besides, she truly does thrive on crowds and parties where she is commonly seen. Just after the last one had left the room and the door closed behind the crowd, I could see Pinkie making a funny face, as if she smelled something, a scent she had not expected, a scene she knew and loved beyond reason. "What is it, Pinkie?" I exclaimed, as I saw her face with a wide grin. "I thought they ate the last of the cake, but now I can clearly feel the scene of frosting," she responded, her grin widening as a giggle crept into her voice. "Oh yeah, now as you mentioned it, I do feel a hint of frosting scent as well. I just can't point a hoof towards where it is," I responded. "I thought I was placing the last of the cake on the table an hour ago. We had better go see where it is, unless we are imagining things," Pinkie Pie giggled, now smiling from ear to ear. I started to walk back into the room, with Pinkie Pie hot on my tail, just not the way I had originally imagined it. Yet, Pinkie Pie is Pinkie Pie. Not even Twilight Sparkle had managed to explain her at all. She had given up in utter frustration, or so it was said. Of course, Pinkie Pie's is exciting, as are parties. If only I had realized what was to come next. I failed, and miserably at that. "Could you turn right?" Pinkie Pie suggested. After she had been following me around to the tables in the kitchen and back. "Yeah, I guess I could," I responded, hearing her stop behind me as I continued a few more steps forward before turning to the right, as she suggested. "Strange. The scent is always the strongest from your direction. It is as if you had invisible cake on your back," she countered in bright observation, trying to hide her excitement for a moment. "If so, it is levitated by an invisible unicorn as well, unless we have an alicorn or something like that," I proposed. "That would have been fun. The alicorn had to be at the outskirts of town. I would have noticed it if she had been close by," Pinkie Pie declared as she closed in on me once more. "Nay, no invisible unicorn, silly. Nay, no invisible unicorn, sorry. Silly me. The scene came from you all along. Maybe you sat in frosting while you popped the piñata," she suggested, hopefully, in her usual merry voice, but still giggling. "I don't feel sticky, but I guess you could take a look, just to be safe," I responded, still giggling. This was a silly situation, chasing an invisible cake all around the room where Pinkie Pie had thrown my party. "The sofa should be just right for this," she pointed out, pointing her right hoof at the sofa she had in mind. I soon found myself sitting on top of it with my rump in the air. Do you see any cake or frosting?" I inquired, still hopeful. "No, but the scene is screaming in my nostrils once I am this close up," she merely pointed out with a wink. If it is there, why can't you see it?" I pondered critically. "It certainly is there, but I can't see it. Just one way to see if I am mistaken. You know how much I love cake and frosting," she exclaimed, leaning over all the way up to my belly where I sit. "This feels strange," I pointed out, as her tongue hit my orchid. It did? "It did? Certainly tasted like the bestest of frostings I ever tasted, and I have tasted frostings," she responded. "That's good. I guess we could write this off as a shared and pleasurable moment," I pondered. "Yeah, I just haven't had a frosting quite this juicy," she mumbled, as her tongue kept coming back for more, just never quite capable of getting enough. or clean the frosting off of my orchid. Strange, I feel something on my flanks. Strange, I feel something on my flanks. I put forth, turning to look, only to find a delicate orchid on the previously blank coat. She did not answer or respond, too busy lapping away at her frosting, even if it was on me, my orchid. If you don't mind, I think I will have to ask you to host my quinceanera, I exclaimed. Mind? You silly filly, why should I mind? She responded, as she finally managed to get her muzzle off of me. I wouldn't know, but I have the feeling you may be responsible for it to occur on my flank, I pointed out. Now she looked up, only to see the orchid on my flank. She just grinned even wider. Had it been any other pony, I would have said it would have been impossible. The grin from ear to ear had been creepy enough had it been any other pony. I finally managed to lick off all the frosting. You're clean enough to go home, she concluded.